What's going on, guys? It's Nathan. Welcome to episode number 28 of Hyperspace Hype. We are excited to be discussing even more scoops upon scoops upon scoops that this ice cream tower is stacking so high. Will it ever tilt and fall? It's insanity with how much has been coming out, but we're excited to be talking about it and have content. So joining us today, we have Carson.
What's going on, guys? I am on time and ready to go for the first time in so long. Maybe 28 is my lucky number. We're episode 28, and we got like 28 ice cream scoops of just keep on scooping. But let's break all these things down and just the future of Star Wars on Disney Plus. So much.
Also joining us, we have Evan.
I have no ice cream jokes, but I'm glad to be back with you guys. We got a lot of fun stuff. Like it's been for the past couple of weeks, we have a lot of Disney Plus news. It's kind of keeping this podcast alive here.
Absolutely. So just to kick it off, we got some Kenobi news, big Kenobi news. It looks like they are...
Or small, could you say?
Haha. Yeah, this obviously is a pretty huge scoop, as it were, that comes out. Initially, like, reports were floating around. It's like the Kenobi series is seeking the casting of twins, but now it's specifying that it's no surprise, even if you just hear the twin rumor. Luke and Leia set to appear in the time frame for Kenobi, which I actually am excited about because it kind of goes into previous Kenobi ideas I talked about in discussing and I think also reaffirms the includement of Bail Organa for a role.
Yeah, I think that's the surprising one, is the announcement of young Leia. Because I'm like, okay, young Luke is a given. Everybody thought that, but young Leia too? So is Obi-Wan going to go to Alderaan? Is that a possibility? Or are we just going to get a cutscene with Bail on Alderaan talking to Kenobi? I'm not sure.
I can see Bail being the link between, Kenobi's bigger conflict or whatever the present conflict is. Oh my god. Anyways, that's where I can see Leia coming in, and I don't know. I think it would probably just be a role where she just be kind of there. It would just be like, oh hey, it's Leia. Like, it would not be like we're gonna be like perspective of her character whatsoever. Like, that'd be weird if it just like cut perspectives and somehow we're just like in teenage Leia, just like, it would be cool.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Has Leia ever met Kenobi prior to A New Hope?
It seems like they have a semblance of a connective knowledge based on lines from Rogue One and A New Hope.
Yeah.
And I've actually I'm trying to break down the age of Luke and Leia because I'm trying to off of Rebels specifically. I don't think they're going to be around the Rebels age of 15 because then even we have to. It's basically you're at full on Ben Kenobi at that point in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd probably have to dial 5 years before that, which would place Luke and Leia around 10 years old. And it's funny because every time I think back to the Twin Sons episode and I see Luke run across the horizon, I always imagine it's a little child, but he's 15 right there.
I feel the same way.
I forget. Oh my god!
When he's running, it looks so small. So you're like, oh, he's like a little kid. But like, oh no, this is like 2 years before I knew.
Yes. So I could definitely place Luke being around 10 years old. So subsequently, so with Leia. But now I'm unsure as to what Leia is going to be doing around that age. I can't remember how old she was in Princess of Alderaan, doing her stuff, and I don't remember how old she might be dealing with Senate stuff.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
So, what time period does Kenobi take place in again?
If I were to guess, it's probably going to be like 10 years after Revenge.
Yeah, we're still unspecified right now.
Unspecified. I swore, wasn't there like that weird timeline thing at D23 last year or something?
I don't think it's specified exactly. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just it just said between Revenge of the Sith, and
it's just pretty much like chronological order.
But if we think about how old Ewan is, I doubt they're gonna want to age him up a lot. Obviously I bet they're gonna. What do you guys think? You think you're gonna completely dye his hair gray and?
If I speculate off of that grill photo that was going around,
I know that's what I'm saying.
Grill photo.
Ewan. There was a photo
Has
of
the
Ewan.
beard back.
He has his full Kenobi look.
Oh my
back, and
gosh,
he's like grilling some shrimp.
That's hilarious.
But just going off that, like a lot of his the color of the hair and the beard looked a lot more like grayish, like more muted. It's like he looks aged, but also similar to like how we left him. So I think he looks perfect for like the in between.
Yeah.
But if I were to place it, it's probably going to be somewhere 5 to 10 years after Sith.
Okay, after Sith. Okay, yeah. So not 5 years before A New Hope.
No, that'd be way too.
That's
like
way too old.
Yeah, way too. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah,
and also I think it's better that way because
me too.
We already have so much content so close to and overlapping with A New Hope. I would hate for if it was like very very close. I think this puts a perfect distance between hopefully Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, so we can kind of like use characters, like we can fill in like what we were saying before about like, oh, has Leia met like, or at least a knowledge of like those kind of questions they're not so like dependent on answers that we already have. We can kind of let the filmmakers like tell their story with that and which connections they want to make, which I think is exciting because it's like we're not writing, even though we are writing ourselves into a box with this show, I feel like there's enough space to kind of like do what they want in terms of like, because we talk about every week like, oh, what is Kenobi going to be doing? Like there's so much potential for like what that conflict could be if he's going to get drug off planet, like how much is he going to be actually like interacting with Luke, all these different questions. I think like there's an interpretation of, it's not like something that we already have the answer to. So that's what excites me most about kind of this news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of there's plenty of potential for at least one season here. I don't think they're going to do like season 2 of Kenobi, like he's in Coruscant now, but no.
I see like a limited series.
Yeah, definitely like a limited series kind of thing. How old are the kids again? Did you already mention that? How old are the kids they were casting?
That's what we were speculating on. As I imagine they'll probably be around like the age of 10, or like maybe like 8 to 10.
Yeah, 8 to 10.
Okay, because I'm getting a lot of like Leia Princess of Alderaan vibes too as well.
Yeah, because that's what I was like trying to like remember, because it's been a while since I've dove into Princess Alderaan, because I know like Leia goes like out on this like sort of trip.
Yeah, that training camp thing or whatever.
and I can't completely remember like the connection that all ties into. I know like she's continuously trying to work with Bail, like following him to Creighton stuff and like this whole rebellion stuff, which eventually she does, as we see in Rebels, like she's like sneaking stuff and supplies. But I'm intrigued to see how far that might start. Maybe we'll get like the beginnings of that. I actually kind of see, with how much we were hearing of like this connective possibility of individual solo shows, I can see continuous ties, like having maybe messages between Obi-Wan and Bail that like connect through different angles on Kenobi and the Cassian series. And then also subsequently you could have Enfys Nest show up in Cassian to also connect with the solo stuff. And then
so you get the cells kind of interacting. Yeah,
for sure.
I'll be curious to see how they use Bail in both. I mean, I think they're gonna use, if they're casting a young Leia, they have to cast Bail pretty much.
And he's like already 100%. Around for casting. You have the volume. You can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, he's a fantastic actor. He was awesome in Rogue One. I'm glad that he's back in like full capacity. I'm just so curious, like, what is going to be big enough, as I would love it if it is through Bail Organa. What is going to be big enough for Bail that he's doing at the time? Like what, kind of pre-conflict in the rumblings of all the rebellion stuff, like is going to kind of have to get the attention of Kenobi, or what does that kind of look like? And that's so fascinating. It's like, what's going to motivate Kenobi probably to take his attention off of Luke? I think that's what the show, at least in the present, is going to have to be like.
That's the struggle. I think even the writers are having that struggle. I think Bail Organa is going to be that key for Kenobi
to tie it all together. Yeah,
for his outside world, because right now he's stuck on Tatooine. He's having nothing but, as we are expecting he's going to be having a lot of flashbacks. That's going to feel like at least an episode or two there. But besides like all these Clone Wars, Anakin, maybe Padme flashbacks, what is going to be that enticing incident that might bring him off world or have him like conflict on Tatooine? Is there going to be like a rival? I mean, of course we know all the Jabba stuff on Tatooine.
Yeah.
I doubt Kenobi's going to
probably start
involved.
small scale. Yeah, I doubt it's going to like be so heavy. Especially if we're getting solo stuff, that's probably going to be more where we get that kind of underground smuggling vibe.
Yeah. But so I don't know. Yeah.
What I was just thinking is like someone brought up Coruscant like 5 minutes ago, and it would be fascinating if we had to run a stealth mission to Coruscant, or Kenobi is essentially going into the pits of hell, and he's going past all these iconic locations and things that he's been, and that's what it also triggers those flashbacks, and like he's struggling, whatever the mission is. Maybe he has to meet up with Bail on Coruscant. Like that would be fascinating. Like if he has to go back right into that.
Wow, that would be insane. What if Bail's like, yeah, we have a Senate meeting, Kenobi, can you help me out of here?
Like the Senate meeting is a distraction, and Kenobi has to go like steal something or like something like there's just possibilities with that. I think it would be. I don't know.
Imagine going like having him go back into the sieged temple.
Right. Like there's oh my god, like
because we haven't seen that post Revenge of the Sith besides in that Darth Vader comic book series where Jocasta knew how to go back inside to find some holocrons and ancient artifacts. Besides that, I don't think we've seen a lot of Coruscant post then. And it's been mentioned in the Aftermath books as well. Through certain like anthology chapters, but man, that would be interesting. I would love that.
I'd be intrigued to see different stuff. Like maybe even like in a semblance, maybe he revisits Padme's old home and he starts. And like I really love the introduction to the whole canon of the idea of Force echoes, because I think that could really amplify the great ideas of like the flashbacks that we pitched for returning actors, like we've heard with Hayden.
That's exactly what I think Coruscant could bring out specifically. And even if they're especially like if they are going to lean heavily on Clone Wars live action flashbacks, or instances where it would take place during that time period, stuff we haven't seen, that could be an instance where like the Force echoes thing, and just like I guess where it could be interesting that like he's back on Coruscant and sensing such an evil with Palpatine being there, headquartered there, but really it could be a reveal that like that whole time he was really sensing Anakin, and it's like he's mistaking that evil just for Palpatine, because we don't have that. We don't have that moment where he like realizes to that extent.
That's true. You bring that up, Carson, and we also had like the rumors that Vader could be in the show. I don't know if those rumors that Vader's in the show or rumors that Anakin's in the show.
Anakin,
or Vader's in a flash. I think both too. And like I'm hoping it's a Vader flashback. But Carson brings out like the whole Coruscant scenario, and that would be really cool. I just do not want them to meet. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't want them to meet either.
I'm sure even like if they're in a surrounding vicinity, it's from a great distance. I don't think they're going to cross paths.
Agreed. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know Vader. I don't specifically remember Vader's perception in the public eye, but I'm sure like if he's just like standing right hand to Palpatine, it's like some sort of like.
And that's an interesting thing too, because it's like Kenobi. You have to remember Kenobi is cut off from the world. And so, like, to bring him into the overbearing, even just like there's like the hollow news everywhere, like the Empire propaganda that really hasn't made its way to Tatooine as far as Obi-Wan's perspective. Like he knows it's bad, but it's only off of his assumptions, right? At least we would presume. So it'd be so cool to see him just go into like sensory overload of just like all this stuff, because he's just in Tatooine and then just society of what it is.
And he's fully aware by the time of A New Hope of like who the Empire are, like he knows you have to avoid them. He knows stormtroopers are precise, but
these are bad people.
Yeah, like obviously, like there's been an encounter with the Empire before, so it's definitely intriguing to explore. Another thing, just like bringing it back with Luke and Leia, I think obviously, like the big scoops tend to be like actor to appear in this show, but I think with this whole connective ideal, I think there could be a stronger sense of you'll get this actor, but they could also be prominent in a separate show. Like we're speculating with Bale, but I would honestly not be surprised. And I know like things get pretty crazily. We obviously are more encouraged to have original stories and stuff and not have like everything be super duper tied together. But we're already exploring these specific stories that are kind of doing that anyway. And we just hope that we get more deep exploration of the characters and get something positive out of it. So I could honestly see the Kenobi series being a placement to explore not like as like the main character, because obviously Obi-Wan is, but you probably get more time spent with Luke, and then I could also see prominent stuff with Leia, with Bale in Cassian series, just based on her role with the rebellion. And I can also see that because, just, again, going off of like lines from A New Hope, we know that Leia has connections and knowledge of both Vader and Tarkin, and that would also segue us to our next point, that Tarkin is set to appear in the Cassian series now.
Yes.
So I feel like all that could definitely connect together, and I think it would be interesting to like get like the deeper just background with like Luke and Leia and these separate things coming together. So when you go back to New Hope and you just have even more history, same way when you watch the prequels and you see Obi-Wan in New Hope.
Yeah, I could totally see a little Leia. 'Cause I think Cassian takes place 6 years before Rogue One. 6 or 7 years before Rogue One.
Yeah, which is prime time of what she's doing in Rebels.
Exactly. I could see like Bale being like, take your daughter to work day and bring little Leia into like the whole rebellion. You know, those meeting rooms with the big hologram maps in the middle. I can see Leia coming to one of those and being like wowed by everything.
And just shoot it from such a low angle, so like all you can see is just, like this scuffling everywhere, but you can't really see what's going on. I would love that, dude. That's a great idea, Nathan. I didn't even think of Leia and Cassian. That would be super smart, super easy. It would make a lot of sense, especially given the whole Rogue One line, like where Bale was like, "I have this person I trust a lot," referring to like his daughter Leia. So
and that's a whole nother thing, is like I don't see them going to cast for twins where, obviously we'll have prominence of Luke and Kenobi, but I don't see a whole lot of usage for Leia aside from appearances and probably like a holo message. I feel like that's not something you just want to like waste on. So I think it's pretty smart.
Yeah, I think now that I'm thinking about it, Nathan, I think we get the tidbits of Luke development in Kenobi where, he's in and around that centrally. So whatever it could be. And I think also I would love like Force echoes if Kenobi goes off planet, we get like Force echoes of like Luke in danger or something back that like would just pull Obi-Wan between whatever he's doing and Luke, like stuff, little like just like Force check-ins where he would just be like, oh my God, what's happening to Luke? He would sense something. So stuff like that. And then in the Cassian show, which now with this Tarkin stuff, I think is presumably going to be a lot more like politically heavy-handed Empire rebellion, just at a different phase than what we've ever seen it at. And I think that's perfect to like kind of get the beginnings of Leia and Bale, and they're like kind of him ushering her into that diplomatic world, because we really haven't seen that before. And the more that I talk about this, it's like I realize that these castings are bigger than I thought they were. Now that we talk about all these potential, like I'm like, this is going to be a tough casting. Like
for little Luke and little Leia,
especially for at their age. Like it's it's like casting Daniel Radcliffe in Emma Watson. It's like that age of like, like you got to strike lightning in a bottle. And I mean, it's gonna be a tough.
I don't think they have to worry too much because it's only like a limited series kind of
thing.
Here.
So you have
like a big movie. Cassian going above like 2 seasons.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly. I think just like Kenobi, at least 1 season. I don't know. That's gonna be very fascinating to see where they go with that. Real quick, you're mentioning Luke. Do we think Luke's gonna like use the Force at all in this series? Is that
I don't think so. I don't think. I mean, if it does, it's going to be like accident unnoticed.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
like one of those like, oh, I fell over and I barely saved myself or something like
I
that.
think. I mean, I think maybe we could get maybe a sense of his piloting skills.
Yeah, because in one of the Star Wars comic books where Luke's reading the journal from Obi-Wan and he has a flashback or he has a flashback of Obi-Wan's past on Tatooine, and like Luke was using this plane thing, almost got in danger, but he kind of used the Force. I'm like, could that happen? That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to like think back because and I know like A New Hope gets made and it's the first ever iteration of anything, but we know in context like Force users like they use their stuff like at a very young age. Like it's not like 19 like Luke was. It's I mean granted it's like similar for Rey. It's kind of like something locked away and stuff. I guess it all depends on like personal that person and stuff they've been through. But I definitely see Luke exploring some stuff indirectly, unbeknownst to him, because he's living a sheltered life. I think it could be interesting to see Luke in a surrounding with his friends and stuff, like Biggs and everybody. I think that would definitely give more weight to like the new Biggs.
Yeah,
give more prominence there.
I would love to see like a scene of like we talked about last week, I believe, of like Kenobi's like frustrations like boiling over into some physical display of the Force, and maybe that leading to some conflict with somebody seeing that. I would love the vice versa situation where Kenobi maybe has to like get Luke out of a situation or at least influence it from a distance to whatever extent he can, or Luke accidentally uses the ability that he didn't know that he like could do, and it's like a little too obvious, and like maybe that gets Luke in trouble somehow, some way.
Yeah,
maybe so he has to dig him out of that.
Maybe Owen sees that and he gets even more pissed, and he's like,
right, like he would be furious.
Mm-hmm. We could see Luke go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters.
Oh my gosh.
The fact that there is actual like deleted scene stuff of Tashi Station.
I could see Joby Harrow doing that. Like we gotta include Tashi Station.
I do like that. I do like that the deleted character of I think Camille was her name, is in the TLJ novelization as a
that's right.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, she's an existing deleted scene character. They brought her back.
If they brought her, that would be wild.
That'd be so really cool. I think that would be really fun. I was thinking more to the Force Echo stuff. Do you guys think maybe Obi-Wan could wander off to maybe like the location where Anakin ransacked the Tusken Raiders? I mean,
that seems like a lot of fan service, but I would.
It would, but I can also see like a trial for Obi-Wan going through stuff. Like maybe he's like off wandering when he's getting his first like sense to tune of Qui-Gon, trying to commune with him, and like maybe even like doesn't know completely how things are going. Maybe he doesn't get that full knowledge from Yoda on how to completely connect. So when he sees like an image of Qui-Gon being isolated for so long, he gets like really freaked out but hopeful, like chasing a mirage, and he's like wandering through the desert and stuff.
That would be cool. And I assume you'd see a lot of what are they called, Tusken Raider like interactions, just like we saw in episode 5 of The Mandalorian. That'd be really cool. You also see him get that what's it called, crate dragon yell.
Oh my god, they need
like we can see like
it's 5 things through many iterations, and the one we have is ridiculous.
Yeah. What if you see him keep trying to do it during the show? He's like, okay. That'd be funny. But yeah, I love the Force Echoes idea. Him wandering around the desert. It seems very. I'm like, for a lot of movies and television, anything in that medium, when you go into a desert, you usually do get some of those weird visions or kind of weird sequences whenever somebody goes into a desert. So
except if you're Aquaman.
Yeah, but no,
ocean to ocean. No.
Oh my god! When Kenobi comes out, we're gonna make an ocean to ocean remix of Ewan McGregor on Tatooine.
Wow. You gotta do that. That'd be comedy.
The horror in my brain where I'll be like deeply in a cinematic mode of watching Kenobi go through a trial, and then I just hear Mr. Worldwide. Like, oh my god.
Okay, back to Evan's point about Uncle Owen. I had an interesting thought. So we know of his like dislike and kind of realization of how much conflict, Force stuff has brought him, but we don't know how much he's seen like visibly, or what he kind of like. So one thing, what if in order to preserve Luke's image towards Uncle Owen and kind of like, making sure that he's able to just like, stay there and make sure he's all good, that like Uncle Owen sees Luke use the Force accidentally, and we know about like, I think it's interesting to play with like memory in the Force. Like I love what I love about the sequel trilogy is like, Kylo and Rey are just very much like in each other's heads. Like I love that perspective. And it would be fascinating if at the crux of, Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen's relationship in this show that like Kenobi had to like try to like erase something or kind of like get it out of his head that Luke was this monster, or that Luke was, a bad person because it was something that's out of his control. I would love to see like a huge argument scene between Uncle Owen and Kenobi about Luke. It's something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I feel like that's inevitable. That would be incredible.
I think that would be ideally executed well, the best scene of the whole show. For something like that to go down. I kind of like had a thought. I kind of had a thought of not 100%, but to another Ewan role of from Dr. Sleep, of like the idea of like the child's voice in his head. Like maybe he like gets like some sort of a semblance of like Luke and stuff. Not talking back, of course, because it's not full telekinesis or anything. But
that'd be cool.
But just the haunting nature. Like this man is just plagued by everything. Like whether it's the echoes or there's just like in his brain, whether it's Anakin or Luke or everybody, it's just.
You say Dr. Sleep, yeah, because some of the camera work there too of how he kind of is influenced by those, inner, I don't even know what you call
trauma.
It in that movie. Yeah, like just all of that, like how the camera, like, and he like is literally falling down onto the wall and stuff, and like all those trippy like scenes. I would love like some, not even like Doctor Strange level hallucinations, but some like varied kind of.
Like Rey in The Force Awakens, kind of.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Some horror. I will. That's what I should say. I want some horror influenced hallucinations or Force echoes. I think that's perfect.
We have to, right? Like with the whole Anakin flashbacks. Maybe
give me Force echoes in the style of Lord of the Rings when Frodo puts the ring on, and it's like that like dust and mist, like where it's like he's invisible and like all that. Like it's like that. It's, I don't know.
Sure.
To me, that's terrifying like that.
I would love like similar to, I think it was in one of the Vader comics when he's trying to bleed the Kyber crystal, like he's like going through stuff of his past, and like even like I think like, even like encounters Obi-Wan on Mustafar. I think Obi-Wan even like chucks him straight into the lava. It's like a lot of crazy stuff.
That was Darth Vader issue number 25. That was crazy.
That's when he was like walking around as like the dark mist with the ghostly limbs.
Yeah, he was like, I'm reborn. He's like, you're Anakin Skywalker. And then he comes out of the lava. He's like, no, I'm Darth Vader, or something like that. Incredible, man. And then the other thing that you were talking about is from the other comic book where he's bleeding the crystal, and he sees Obi-Wan like in the grassy plain, kind of Naboo looking area, and he's like, he's pleading to Obi-Wan. He's like, I'm sorry, I messed up or something like that. And Obi-Wan forgives him, but then like it turns dark, like we can get some crazy stuff going on here. I would love to see the semblance of a Force vision where Obi-Wan gets that next chance to fix his pupil that he failed, but then just like everything caving around.
Yes.
And again, we could get some good stuff out of Hayden. Just imagine that, guys, man.
Absolutely.
I literally
the man has acted well. I assure you, it exists.
Yes.
Not from that video that Carson sent in the group chat the other day.
No, not at all. But like I was bringing up like his performance.
Joby Harold's Awake 2000.
Oh, Awake.
Which, fun fact, they know each other. So Hayden and Joby Harold know each other. So there is no shortage of connections.
It's that connection. He went to
Hayden in that clip. Was he like dying like Padme from a broken heart?
No. So the whole premise of that movie is Hayden has to get heart surgery, and I shit you not, in the trailer it's like 1 in 364 people stay awake during their procedures, and it's like he's awake during his own heart surgery, so he's like basically like, I don't know, dissociating from his body and then like seeing himself but yet feeling like all the pain, I guess. I don't even know. And then like he has to like somehow communicate with his girlfriend to like get the doctors to stop messing up because there's some like corruption going on with the doctors who like are messing up. I don't even know. Seems interesting. But also the trailer is so cheesy. The trailer is so cheesy, 2000s, like
naturally.
Trailer guy voice, like, what would you do if?
That's amazing! Like, I miss that
guy. Dude, it's so crazy that like, I think that came out like 2 years after Sith, and it's funny because I'm just like, I'm looking at these projects, and like I was like on Instagram, and there was a photo of Hayden and Natalie at the premiere of Sith, and it's so funny because I know like Hayden's not gonna have the best set career, but I see Natalie's there at the premiere with her shaved head, and I'm like, oh my god, she was just in V for Vendetta.
Right.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
But we like the prequels here.
We do. But going back to big man Tarkin.
Yes.
How big of a presence do you guys think he's going to have in Cassian? Is he going to be like his presence in Rebels Season 1, where he came in towards the latter half, had a big presence there, where he captured Kanan? Could we see something like that? I mean, I don't think he's going to capture anybody, but like, can we see like a presence toward the later half of the season, or is he going to be throughout every episode?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that ultimately comes down to like the usage of Senate stuff that we'll see through Bail and potentially Leia.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
Because also Mon Mothma is also set for the show, so I think you'll probably get like a lot of like set Senate stuff, but also probably leading commands. And again, like, I would not be opposed to having Krennic be some force in the show.
Please.
Yeah.
God, that would be so good. 'Cause, seriously, I think Ben Mendelsohn, he's just phenomenal.
But let's talk about for a second just the idea of Tarkin and how they used him in Rogue One. It's pretty groundbreaking back at time. I'm sure it'll be even more polished this time around. The volume.
Yeah.
But one thing is, I was reading that remind me of Tony Gilroy was apparently not happy with the actor that did like the step-in performance.
Yeah,
I heard about that, but I don't remember seeing an article about that.
I saw it on Twitter. I was like, when did this ever come out? But it's interesting.
But Tony Gilroy was crapping all over Rogue One, so he could say,
right.
So be surprised.
Yeah. But I mean, I think a lot of people agreed the dude did like a pretty amazing job at capturing his voice and his mannerisms. But with reports, they were also saying that the actor hasn't been reached out to, which is a bummer if they don't, because like the dude was a solid lock.
I mean, sure, but it's also like with the avenue of motion capture or whatever process they were using.
Yeah,
you could kind of get anybody to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, you could get. I think didn't Steven Stanton do the Rebels Tarkin?
Oh, yep, exactly, and he was a great Tarkin. Get Steven Stanton in there.
Get him.
Really cool. Yeah. I don't know, because I remember I'm not a huge Rogue One fan, but Tarkin wasn't one of the issues I ever had. I just remember it being a little uncanny whenever he was on screen. His lighting on his face would always be a little bit different from everybody else's lighting, given like the circumstances.
I just never took no notice because I was just so taken aback at that, because I've never seen something to this degree. Because like, I mean, you see like the first ever like real iteration of something like that, in like the value of like de-aging and stuff with like Tron.
Yeah, and we saw like a Civil War like 6 months prior to Rogue One, anyways. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was really
this
weird.
This
is different too, because it's not just de-aging the existing actor. It's you have to. They had to scan an existing mold of the man's face, which they luckily found. In order to recreate the whole thing. And I think just off that, they did pretty phenomenal. I was never taken out of it watching. I know a lot of people have also like similar issue with Leia, which
I was way more taken back by Leia than I was.
Yeah,
Leia was bad.
That one was a big thrown off as well. I wasn't too bad. I mean, there was like points like in this like 3-second clip that she's on screen, where like it looks odd, but sometimes it also looks really good as well. But I know, but also I don't think it looks bad. I don't
I
think
thought it was
it
pretty
looks,
bad.
I think it's.
I remember being
far
in the theater like,
bad.
wow, they really did it. I thought they would just do like the back of her hood. I'm like, okay, that's cute.
If
But then
it
turn
didn't
around,
zoom
I'm
in, if
like,
it didn't
oh.
zoom in, like you
Small,
know what I
Yeah.
mean,
small,
like,
small little pan.
and then you right. The final shot is like right on the uncanny valley. Like it's literally
Exactly. It's so weird.
I think it's still. I think I've even like watched the corridor crew breakdown. I think it was like the lip structure. I think that they were
yeah.
trying to nail down.
For me, it was the eyes. For both Tarkin and Leia, it was the eyes.
that's
I'm
fair.
like the eyes.
I don't know.
kind of
I think
get
I'm
me.
just. I really am just impressed with the Tarkin one. I think
I am too.
I like the lighting and stuff of it, and I think it was also. I also existed in like a point where I would like watch Revenge of the Sith with my dad, and every time he really didn't like how Tarkin looked in Sith.
Interesting.
He thought the dude looked bad, and he thought Rogue One was like such a step up. And I'm like, well, of course, it's the same dude. You just
it's the
the-
space.
the skin.
But the opposite. I never had a problem with maybe because I grew up watching.
I don't
Revenge of the
either.
Sith, but Revenge of the Sith seemed cleaner to me than Rogue One. Maybe because
Well,
I
I
knew
think it's actual like prosthetics and stuff too. It's not
exactly. Yeah. Which is like, why couldn't they do that for Rogue One?
But also, the dude looked like an actual young Tarkin on
Yeah.
screen. If I look at like a visual,
That's true.
dictionary
I see what you're
photo of the
saying.
dude,
Yeah.
the dude looks sickly and weird. Just the structure that they had him in. But on
Mhm.
screen, the dude looks phenomenal. I guess that's all due to the lighting and stuff. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
common on stage practice.
But yeah, granted, I think they will do much better than we saw in 2016. I mean, just see how much technology has progressed. We had
Yeah.
that episode a couple weeks prior where we were talking about all the technological progress we've had, like with Jon Favreau and all this stuff. I think with Rogue One, until now, 4 years is a big, or by the time we get Kenobi, it'll be like 5 years until they start filming. So it's going to be a big jump. So I think they're going to be a lot better. And they've heard a lot of the complaints.
Yeah.
I think they'll
And
fix all that
lighting
stuff.
wise on the
Yeah.
volume, you have a lot more
True,
control to eliminate. Of course, it's not gonna, but you're able to match things with the computer probably much more seamless because
Yeah, I
you have
remember
that lighting
the,
set up as is. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
you have to add lights in because most of it is already.
Because I
coming
remember-
from
I remember with the behind the scenes of Rogue One, like them showcasing, they had the CG Tarkin face model, and they were like shadowing lights around it and stuff. But like that was all like within the computer. Like you can literally move your set lighting on stage now with the volume
yes.
to like lock that properly now.
Yeah,
So,
and
like-
in real time with the actor's face and performance.
Yeah.
So then you could just match the lighting with that once you render it out. Like it's just, it's like there's just so much advancement that it's going to be crazy by the time we get this show. By the way, are we getting Cassian by late 2021?
I
Is
was
that feasible?
literally about to ask the same thing because we've heard like last week that Kenobi's filming March 2021.
Yeah.
That being said, with all the Kenobi issues, I thought Cassian was going to come out before Kenobi. So is Cassian going to start filming this year still, or is it going to film
weren't they set for August?
They were set for August, but then
Yeah.
I don't know if that was pre or post COVID. So
I thought they were. I remember.
I think we got that report within the pandemic.
within
but,
the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's July 31st right
Things
now.
are going back into production. Shang-Chi from Marvel is going to start filming again. Dune reshoots
Do
are
we
coming.
know
next month.
how long Mando took to film Mando season 2 and when they started?
Season 1 and season 2 were both around the same filming time, which is about
It was 3 to 4 months.
October to January, February is. So yeah, like 3 to 4 months.
I
So
was just gonna say an October start date for Cassian might be probably on the. I would think if I was in their shoes right now, I'd be like, all right, October. If we can if we can get principal photography done by January and then have a November release date or October, November 2021, I think that's doable.
because I was just thinking, like, remember last week I said, what are the shows going to be for 2021? Bad Batch and maybe Rebels. But if they could squeeze in Connect Cassian, that'd be awesome. Bad Batch, Cassian, maybe Rebels as well.
Yeah.
Sounds very exciting to me.
I would be fine with an animated 2021, just that. And plus, we have the whole High Republic Project Luminous coming out. And now the, we'll talk about this later in the show, but the Mandalorian prequel novel, or I can't remember. Prequel, whatever. whatever time
it'd be-
period.
I think it's a prequel. The original, the one that's based off of the show, is still coming out this year, but the one that's going to be for the show is coming.
Oh yeah,
out
that was the one we were speculating of, like Mando's existing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then we could get all that 2021, 2022.
That's going to be
We
big
could get
with
Cassian.
Kenobi.
And that's going to be the
Kenobi
celebration year as well.
And celebration year and Fallen Order sequel. Is that 2022?
I forgot about that.
Didn't they announce 2022 or like
they
they
didn't
wanted
announce
to?
anything. Gaming turnaround is so hard to judge because
Right.
anything can get delayed.
Can get delayed like 5 times. Yeah.
Exactly. Which I hate. But I always thought as soon as I finished Fallen Order, which was only last year, right? Fallen Order 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
I thought 2023 at the earliest.
Okay.
I always think for 3 to 4 years for any game.
Good for a game.
about-
Yeah.
yeah. I always look at the Uncharted series, which was like 2006, 2008.
I mean, that's why I was so
2011.
surprised about the Miles Morales Spider-Man coming out this year. I thought
Which
they
is-
would have taken longer.
Yeah, but I always assumed the Miles Morales thing is going to be like a shorter game anyway. It's like half as long as.
Yeah, its own thing.
Yeah, that's what a lot of us
Yeah.
imagined.
Right?
But then they said it was going to
Is it
be
so?
like an actual complete game. So
Huh.
I always look at it like there's a spin-off Uncharted Lost Legacy for the PS4. And that was like 10 or so hours, which is pretty good, 10 to 13 hours.
Mhm.
That's about as long as Fallen Order. So, but yeah, we have a lot of big stuff ahead for Star Wars and Disney Plus and gaming.
Oh, one thing is, I guess for 2022 as well.
Mhm.
I don't know if Bad Batch will go 2 seasons, but if it did, I'm
I
assuming
hope
they can.
not. I'm sorry.
I hope not either. But
honest.
I meant to say is if the Rebel successor goes, which I think it will go probably like 3 seasons. Do you think?
Wow, I never
think
thought
it'll go-
about how long that show could last.
Well,
I
remember
don't
we
know
were
if
talking
I'm
about
trying
with
to-
Hera. We were talking about with Hera and all that kind of stuff, and like,
man,
there's a lot to do.
I
Like,
think it depends where they go with the story. I feel like
exactly. I have
again,
no
like
idea.
previously, I was trying to pitch the idea of making a jump point from the Rebels successor series to a potential Luke Han Leia Ben series.
That was your theory, yes. Yeah. But with Rebels, we knew like, okay, it's set 4 years before A New Hope. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to lead into A New
Right.
Hope, maybe 3 to 4 seasons. With this, there's a 30-year time jump or
Right.
gap. So I have no idea where this show could go. I hope it will be more than 1 season.
I'm gonna say 2 to 3. I would think at minimum it's to Star Wars Resistance, where
Because
They
I don't
spill
know
into
what kind
2
of
seasons.
antagonists they could run into for this series still. I mean,
That's
you have
true.
Thrawn, of course, but
Will he even still be
Will he-
an antagonist?
exactly. Yeah.
well, we say this, but also the first we talked about like how does Hera feel about like First Order cells popping up? Like there's all that conflict. They're seeing everything they, worked against. Just history repeat itself. It's the perfect show to
Yeah.
hammer home that, depending on where it takes place, it's the perfect show to hammer home that that they got to keep fighting and all this stuff. So I think there's potential.
Also, yeah, you go.
Okay, yeah. So obviously I would continuously pitch the whole Luke Academy series, and I still think that would be fantastic because it stemmed from my thought of Jason Syndulla being force sensitive. And initially I was thinking, yeah, that would be so cool to see Luke train him. But now I'm also trying to set myself within reasoning. Do you guys see potentially?
I don't see that.
Okay, but do you guys potentially see an older Ezra giving insight into the Force to Jason?
1,000%. That makes way
yeah.
more sense to me than the whole training.
That's
of
fair.
Luke.
That's
mainly
fair.
just I like that idea, Nathan. It's just mainly because I read the Rise of Kylo Ren thing, and it just seems like would Jason have been in there? But
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of Luke's school was present.
true.
Oh my gosh, guys, I need this scene now. Like, I'm thinking of all the times that Ezra and Kanan were just standing outside of the ship, outside of the Ghost, just like having a heart to heart.
Good
And
times.
we have Ezra and Jason doing the exact same thing, and Hera walks down the ramp.
Oh, don't
and,
do it to me.
And like we get an exact mirror from a scene in Rebels, and like we just all start crying. And
I called out. I like tweeted out in my rewatch about the scene. There was a beautiful scene where it is it's Ezra and Kanan are looking out to the horizon, but also in like a flash of Ezra's mind, he's with his parents. What if you get that same thing, but Jason is there with Kanan?
Oh my god,
Jesus, guys, come on! This show
was that in season 4,
announced the show already. Jeez.
It was like season 1 or 2. Like Ezra had the long hair.
I think it was like season 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was still a long haircut, Ezra.
Oh man.
But see, like stuff like that, like there's
this show is too perfect, man.
And with Ahsoka,
oh my god, even to
wrapping
like
up Ahsoka's journey.
I'm sorry, but like even to like a point of having force Kanan reach out to his son, I think would be great, because if he could do it to Rey, I think he could do it to his own child.
We never talked about it, but I would be shocked if Freddie Prinze Jr. doesn't have a couple voice roles in this.
Oh,
series,
he
right?
Definitely will.
Yeah, like come on, flashbacks or anything.
The man can't just do one project and be out.
World Between Worlds,
flashbacks. Like we saw Yoda numerous times in Rebels. So, man,
didn't Frank Oz do the Rebels one?
I don't. Maybe he did. I'm not sure.
I thought he did the Rebels one, but not the Clone Wars.
Could have. Yeah. What's taking them so long to announce this freaking show? This is crazy.
No, everything else has been scooped.
Bad Batch before you announce Rebels? Really?
For real? I don't understand that one. Like the fact that is what gets launched into the.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I can't imagine that's the most developed along series to everything.
But I can, given that I think in my head that is the easy turnaround. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, yeah, I guess if we were coming like right off of a season that had.
You're coming right off of the season. You have those guys do a couple of voice roles. I think it's going to be one season long, hopefully, with like 10 episodes.
What we're doing in that show. I just.
At the same time, like, how do you guys feel about the thought of like most of these series being fairly limited and just having like so many limited projects instead of like a long running?
I like that.
Okay.
I kind of do. Given the show, I think like Rebels.
Yeah, it depends like, on these projects for sure. I mean, it's like similarly with the whole solo stuff, which we're going to get into. We have a Ron Howard quote. It's like there's so many separate projects, and initially we thought it was all going to be tied together as one show, but at the same time, this allows us to branch out and breathe with the individual characters.
I agree.
Yeah,
and it is more and less basically.
And given like especially with the live action shows, I hope some of them are mostly one season, just so we can get into the new stuff. Like, give me one season of Cassian, cool. One season of Kenobi, cool. Blah blah blah. Like Solo, whatever. Like
and also they have Mando for a long trajectory.
And they have Mando for a long trajectory, which I think Mando could be at least 5 seasons for Mando.
Yeah, I think 4 to 5.
But then. Yeah, I just want to hurry up and get out of the original trilogy timeline to get into like what Leslie Headland's going to do, maybe some new stuff once the new films start coming out.
I see like Leslie and Taika's stuff diving into just uncharted territory.
Yes, and I think that's the next step too. And I think right now, at least, a lot of the Disney Plus content is, it is kind of like a step behind where the movies were, in sense to like, oh, we're in the Rogue One and Solo phase of the Disney Plus shows, if that makes any sense.
It totally does. That's a great comparison, Carson. Yeah. And
so then it's like the next step it's like the stories that have kind of been either backlogged around people's minds within the periods that we already know. And now with this new medium on Disney Plus, there's kind of a logical fit with those. But then after that, I think we're going to get more long form kind of content. That's probably going to be, 3 seasons at the, 3 to 4 season shows, hopefully, after all these kind of little things fill in the dots and we get to see some of our favorite characters again. But I'm excited for both eras, and I think they're both necessary, at least for me.
Sure, I think so too. Yeah, lay the groundwork with the familiar, especially as necessary in terms of gaining Disney Plus subscribers.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But I think also just in terms of like exactly what the movies did with The Force Awakens, reintroduce people with the original trilogy, then move into new stuff. Even though we got Rise of Skywalker, but then like you can get like the same thing for Disney Plus, starting with the old and bringing, and we already got the kind of the new with. Hopefully, what we're getting with Solo with all the new characters like Qi'ra and Enfys. Those are new within the old, which I really like.
And it's the same thing with the books too. You know, we've had very centered books on specific characters or whatnot. That kind of, whether it's the Padme books or the Thrawn books or the Leia books. But now we've reached beyond that phase of, and now we're just opening it up for, you know, how many years in the past, like 600 whatever years in the past. It's crazy.
200, yeah.
It's definitely fascinating, and I don't know why my brain has to specifically spell out, but to Carson's point, it definitely makes sense. Like, we're in a similar the start off of the Disney era of Star Wars, in the sense that the new stuff at the time of the sequel trilogy is like really where you play the biggest ball on the big screen. Rogue One obviously made similar bank as the rest of the sequel trilogy, but that's because Star Wars was still so new at the time. I think their effects of Solo have really like reflected on them. And granted, there was a lot of factors there, but I think it's reflected with them and their success of Mando, that you can have these spin-off set stories of stuff we know, but they're going to play best on the streaming, and we can explore the new stuff to wider audiences on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Agreed.
Especially with the quicker turnaround of these Disney Plus shows. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that is why Jennifer Lee is going to make a feature-length animated Star Wars film for the big screen.
Please. Oh, God, I would love that.
I still got to watch that doc.
It's fascinating.
I'm just off my love of Frozen 2. I'm just like that. The look alone.
Like, it's kind of brutal how much they went through. Like, they don't hold back. They're like, they were struggling with story and song, like up until like 3 months.
I heard about that.
Like, it's nuts.
Jenny tweet about stuff like that.
Me too.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
didn't
crazy.
love the story of Frozen 2. I thought it was pretty good in terms of character journey.
Yeah.
But
world building.
Interesting. Yeah, world building. Yeah.
It's definitely fascinating. Like, just the prospect of like a new Star Wars animation, like feature length, especially just like off the thought of if I were to apply the art style that you get from Frozen 2 to like a story we see animated like Fallen Order, I think such a combination is fantastic.
Or we hire Studio Ghibli and then we just give them everything.
Again, 2D animated Star Wars.
Can you imagine?
Give me 2D.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be incredible. I'm sorry. I'm just still. I've the last few days I've been watching more and more of the Studio Ghibli movies, and it's just there's nothing like them. Why can we not expand into anime? Why do not people don't capitalize on animation like these people do? Nobody has ever done it before, like these people do.
Real quick tangent. It's like, because people keep talking about, like, especially with Rey, I can kind of sneak that in there, about the whole strong female character, which I hate even saying that. But Ghibli has been doing that since the 1980s. He's been doing like fantastic heroines for decades.
Ahsoka is literally based off of Princess Mononoke and a lot of, like, visually even, and I'm pretty sure I think Dave has outwardly said that before.
That's the one with the giant wolf interview.
Yes, that is the one with the giant wolf.
They've been doing that for decades, and people are like, "Oh, is Rey the new?" Like the huge Hollywood trend of the past decade or so of like, "Oh, we need better female characters." Like, come on, guys! Like,
we've been doing this since 1986.
Exactly. Like, come on.
But then they like to say that that's like the prime standard, and that's all you really need.
Exactly, Nathan.
Which is just, it's so dumb, and like it shouldn't be labeled as a factor of like the strong female lead. It should just be the strong lead.
And moving into the Solo thing, Emilia Clarke said the same thing during the Solo press tour. They're like, "How do you feel playing like the new Qi'ra? Isn't she a strong male?" She's like, "She's just a great character. Qi'ra is just a great character, and I love to play her."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, you look at like most headlines anyway, it's not continuously. I wouldn't say we're oversaturated in a market where it's primary female leads. I think it's still not equal, but it's getting there pretty good. Just like looking at like everything, like you'll have like the center leads of like individual things like Captain Marvel and Rogue One and Force Awakens with Rey and everybody. But
I think the saturation comes from like studios reacting a different way and just posturing with female leads being representation, when just having the having them for the sake of having them is not representation. Like,
yeah, you need the good writing too.
Right. Like it's like, I know I hate to bring up the Ghostbusters movie of 2016 or whatever, but it's like they let 4 actresses just improv for 2 hours. It wasn't like there wasn't any passion about it. They didn't let a woman writer get her 2 cents on it. They just said, we're gonna hop on the trend here when representation isn't a trend. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think the saturation, or at least the minority of people yelling about it, comes from like those instances where studios react to it as like, oh, we're just gonna do it to do it. And then when we get an actually empowered character like Rey, people try to apply those same criticisms to something it's not. And so then it gets all mixed up, and then people are just yelling at each other on Twitter, and then it just sucks. But
anyways, check out Brie Larson's YouTube channel.
Yeah. She do a workout video or something, and Animal Crossing. Good for her.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, she's the best. The best is like her like big YouTube arch nemesis that she's not even probably aware of anyway. Is that she passed him in subscriber count, and it's
in like a week or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. But back to our topics. We also have in the discussion of like the spinoffs and stuff. We have the 2 cents tossed in on all these individual projects from Ron Howard himself, saying he's unaware of any development of a form of a solo.
Oh, Ron.
Sequel, which to me reads 2 things. Either one, he's not even been approached, which I think eventually he would need to be for some form of a producing role, because he had like a strong hand in the the whole reshoot of
reshooting the entire movie.
Yeah, so like what we know and love comes from Ron, a lot of it. And secondly, he could be lying, just like Ewan was for years, that like, oh, I'm not sure about Kenobi, and then he's come on like recently in interviews like, I felt so bad that I had to physically lie that I didn't know, because again, what we know now is not officially announced with Lucasfilm. It's all scoops.
A lot of the things we've been hearing in general for the past couple of weeks have been early development. That's like everything you keep saying. Lando, blah, 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 like early development, which means why would they even approach people like Ron Howard at this?
And it could drop off any time in this phase. Like,
yeah, like why would they even need to approach Ron Howard? So I think the first one is correct, Nathan. Now I think whatever the first point was, but I don't think
he's not been approached yet.
Yeah, I think he's not lying. He just hasn't been approached. And I think he's responding to a question regarding a sequel, which I think he means a movie, which we all think,
which is
definitely
what
not happening.
Discuss with him anyway.
Yeah, which is I think I would comfortably say like 80% of the Make Solo 2 people are thinking Disney Plus series, or they're not thinking or they're not thinking movies. So I think that's what Ron Howard maybe have gotten confused about. I'm not sure, but because I still think a series is still in development.
He could also even just be primarily thought driven with Han and Chewie specifically, which was recently, I think,
we could talk about
brought up to be also happening amongst the other Crimson Dawn and Lando stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick because
one more thing I wanted to mention about the Ron Howard thing is like, if anything, I think they approach the younger casting to write before they approach directors.
Sure.
At least that's where I would think. But that would think my train of thought is like,
because he's the one with the most ideas.
He's the one with the ideas of that moving forward. I think Ron Howard would definitely approach after to produce or executive produce.
Yeah.
But I think they get a different showrunner.
We've even like thrown, like obviously we'd like to see him do something on form of that. We've even like pitched in the past of our Make Solo 2 talks of a cool directing team of both Ron and Bryce, father-daughter co-projecting, which sounds awesome. But it's interesting to see where things go. I mean, similarly, Alden had like no idea of like what could be going on in terms of solo anything on Disney Plus. But then also in the world of scoops was saying that he's going to be returning. So and again, I don't think he would be approached this early in development either. Just in case things get fall through. Do you think his? Because I remember he was signed for like a 3-picture deal. Do you think that translates into the form of series as well, or do you think a new?
I don't think so. I think a new negotiation will go in there. A new contract would have to form. Similar to Sebastian Stan, I don't think Falcon Winter Soldier is part of his 9-picture deal that he had with Marvel or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because Marvel is like the biggest drive of like the multi-picture anything.
Yeah, once they get you, they really get you.
Yeah, it's like, here's a multi-season deal.
Yeah, you're not leaving.
Oh.
Unless you're like the Red Skull guy, and he was like, I'm out of here. But,
shows up 10 years later.
Can you imagine like there's a loophole in it where it's just like, yes, your season counts as 1 8-hour film. Haha.
Oh no.
We have you for years.
The Actors Guild will be all over that. They'd be like, this is not fair pay.
A lot of new checks coming through.
But yeah, so going into the new rumor regarding Solo that we heard this past week, I think it was like from Star Wars Direct or whatever. It's kind of hard to explain because like their whole rumor thing, I was trying to gauge whether this was different than what we heard from the Castle transmissions from Noah and Corey. They did say, going back to the Star Wars Direct people, the new rumor suggested Han and Chewie would be back in this new series, and that Lando, the new Lando series that was scooped by Corey and Noah, would come after that, or would spin off of this new Solo 2 thing going on. I'm kind of confused because last week we went on a huge discussion regarding why can't they just have these shows be one big thing? And this rumor kind of suggested that they will be all one thing, or at least like the Crimson Dawn mixed with Han Solo. That could be one thing. I don't know about Lando, but yeah, I think which would be awesome for me. Like I would love a show strictly with Qi'ra, Maul, Crimson Dawn, along with Han and Chewie. That is viable. That is possible. It doesn't have to be split up into a Han and Chewie show and a Crimson Dawn show. You could combine them.
And a Lando show.
And I think that is why now that there's even more rumors coming about this, that the fact that we're even having to like corroborate over different rumors makes me think that it's early enough in production that it's probably going to all fuse into one thing. But they're just it's all these buzzwords that are just going around right now of like, okay, yeah, this is going to pop up, this is going to pop up, and you know, maybe they are looking at these individual connected pieces, but more than likely, at least with the Han and Chewie, Crimson Dawn, and Qi'ra stuff, I think it's probably going to fall into one show. Not to say that there won't be an individual Lando show that would, you know, cross over with that or whatever, hint at other things that are happening in between two shows. But I think we're probably going to see either some dwindling down or combining of some rumors when and if they become official at some point.
That's a great point. I think he even mentioned that last week, Carson. Like these things could all just be one thing, and they're all so early in development that we have no idea. We're just hearing different sources who have different information, and they all think they're right. So it's possible. Like last week, we talked about Qi'ra being the main character of a Crimson Dawn show. I still think that could be the case with the Solo 2 sequel show, because I always related it back to Game of Thrones. Like you had a lot of co-protagonists in that show. Like you had a lot of shows dedicated to Dany, but then you veered to the last 20 minutes, and they're all veered towards Jon Snow or whatever. So you could definitely have that kind of thing within the Solo show.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
I don't know if I had much more to add.
Okay. Yeah, or I'll just like drop the mic.
Yeah, we always talk about Solo. It's like every week there's always some kind of.
We talked a ton last week anyway in regards to this project, our ideals. I'm just hoping for the best at this point, and I'm hoping that majority of these scoops remain true and don't fall the wayside, because again, like every day, Noah is teasing me with any Ben Solo news at all. And
what's his deal? It's like, oh, I can't just post a GIF from my favorite character. No,
and Corey immediately was like, no, like dead.
You fallen into the world of scoops, so whatever you tweet.
No, but he's like winking when he says it too, so it's like something.
Yeah, I'm like, come on.
So
dude.
let's move into a broader discussion of like, because there is no celebration this year, what other scoops stuff that we've heard or stuff that we haven't heard, do you think gets confirmed by the end of this year that we haven't heard officially yet?
Well, I think we're truly in the era of the Baskin Robbins of Star Wars with 31 stories. Like,
yes,
you're killing it with the analogies today.
I know, specifically ice cream related.
Are you hungry? Have you had dinner yet?
Because this year we've gotten officially confirmed. We've already this year officially confirmed has been the Taika movie, the Leslie Headland show, the Bad Batch series, Mando season 3.
All these scoops, all these shows.
And we still don't even know what Taika's movie is going to be.
And we don't know what those things are going to be. So that's 4 big things that have been announced officially on StarWars.com. Do we think, because of the void that is the rest of the year without Celebration, presumably those other big announcements, do you think we get the announcement for the Rebels successor show by the end of the year?
We have what? 5 months to go. So. We have to, right?
I think hopefully we'll get something officially announced and lead up. I know obviously we're going to get some form of a teaser for Mando season 2 before it drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that will probably be the next big thing before any scoops will be.
For sure. I think somewhere in between August it's gonna drop. Probably like late. It's
crazy because it is like July 31st as we're recording right now. So yeah, man, we could only be like at least 2 or 3 weeks away.
Oh my gosh.
It's dropping in October, right?
It's dropping in October, yeah. Which I would assume be early October.
That's crazy to think that that's within a year of season.
We should do a live reaction on stream to it, and then go into our episode or something, or just do a whole.
Well, my reaction will be up, but I'm gonna.
Well, you've never done a live reaction before.
You can fake it for the hyperspace hype.
No.
Oh wow, really?
We don't do that.
Baby Yoda is back.
I mean, I could actually take my stream footage and then edit it later.
Yes, and edit it into Evan and I's live reaction, and then we'll just do this.
Actually, we could legit have all of us together. I put right in the middle of the screen here what we're seeing.
That would be awesome.
I'm down.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I remember. I had a live reaction to the Last Jedi trailer at my workplace, and everybody was staring at me like this motherfucker so weird. I'm losing my mind.
I got to see that footage.
It was embarrassing as heck. I'm just
oh, I need that.
It's I need somebody to show me my place in this, and then Kyle, oh my god!
Oh no, I just did that out a couple days ago. I was look at this unlocked Raylo, just he because I wasn't a Raylo yet until the film, but I'm just looking at
yeah.
That trailer, really. I was they're doing this, they're doing it. Okay.
And Ray's floating in the air, and you're oh my god, what is going on?
Oh man, what a time!
What a time, man! 2017, that was a good year.
It was.
Tickets are on sale. You're just on Fandango. It's crashing.
Oh my god, the stories I have of Fandango. I specifically remember I wasn't entirely on top of my Force Awakens tickets at the time, but I got I lucked out on 2 really good seats for the marathon, pretty good seats. And then when Rogue One came, the tickets were dropping on my birthday, which was insane.
Fandango straight up crashed on I could not get tickets for 2 days.
For Rogue One, I was stuck in a loading screen, and part of me was do I back out and refresh? No, I'm in too deep. I was just waiting it out. That paid off for me, and I was the first one in the whole auditorium to pick a seat. And I was yes, got him. Last Jedi, I was just kind of waiting around, specifically on top of that before I even watch any form of a trailer that was going to drop that night. I was waiting for it. Had to get tickets for it's a priority. It's a race against the clock for real.
I was in a lot of the film classes for whatever reason, your first 2 years of college are at night at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. And I was in class, so I had to be on my phone getting those tickets pulled up as the trailer was dropping. So I didn't watch the trailer in class. I had to run home after class and watch it. But I had to get my tickets in class because I'm I cannot miss out on that at least. So I'm on my phone trying to get tickets on multiple different apps, and it's just stressful, man.
That's too funny.
Cut to me asking my dad to not just get these Last Jedi tickets, but specifically the IMAX double feature Last Jedi tickets. So it's we get 3 seats for me, him, and my friend, and it's easily $100. It's
yeah, it's what? It's $30 a pop. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just once in a lifetime is my pitch. All right. But then also we're there at the premiere and he's like, yes, all 3 collectible popcorn tins, please. So nice. And it's crazy, like the collectibles they have. I didn't spring for this, but they had a popcorn drink R2 container for sale at the Rise of Skywalker.
I remember that.
And I was like, oh, cool. And they're like $50. And I'm like, oh no. not tonight. But I'm sure after I get jacked up after this film, we'll go check it out. And then I go see the film and I'm like, oh, that's right. But we bounce
good times.
Emotions here. It's, what were we talking about?
I don't even know.
Scoops and
Scoops, yeah.
Celebration drops.
But
what's gonna drop the rest of the year?
I think Rebels really hope so. Especially because for Rebels, didn't they drop earlier this year? We got this scoop from maybe it was Cora Nori, I forget who, that said like Rebels could happen by the end of the year. Remember that? We're like, oh,
yeah, they said it was coming out.
Noah was saying, I don't know if he was saying it would. He might have been saying it was going to premiere, but now at this rate, I would just say the announcement. They said it was going to premiere holiday 2020 at their first scoop. Because at this rate, with like how much scoops we get, because Lucasfilm is so odd in keeping their grasp. I doubt they would have been able to have anything with the Rebel successor in secret without anything of it dropping by now.
Yeah.
All we've gotten is like adaptation of live action from animated characters. We don't have anything in regards to the animated story or character details or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, also in regards to like animated to live action, I was watching like the Kessel Run transmission this week, and somebody asked him like, "Have you heard any rumors about like?" Because remember a couple months ago there was rumors about live action Ezra or Thrawn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Corey and Noah said they absolutely have heard nothing about that, which
thank goodness
gives me a lot of hope because it was during that time of like we got live action Ahsoka, live action Ezra. I'm like, if they make this Rebels thing a live action thing, I'm gonna be pissed. But they haven't heard anything about that. They still say like the live action Ahsoka thing could be a thing, which is disappointing. But
I'd actually like to I'd like to pose a question to you, Evan, because I know you you are so irate every time you hear the idea of a live action animated character.
I love that word, irate.
So, and we've discussed, and I kind of wonder if like maybe these scoops kind of like get mixed in what projects they're actually attached to. Like we were discussing with the idea of like Leia with Cassian. Would you prefer to have these Rebel characters appear in live action, or would you rather premiere a 180 idea of Mando characters appearing on the Rebel successor?
Mando and Rebels, I think would be cool. I never have a problem with live action. It's so weird. I don't think I'm a hypocrite in saying this, but like I would never have a problem with live action going to animation. I think that's really cool. I just think
is it just the original animated charm that gets lost?
I think especially all the cool stuff that we saw Mando do in those 8 episodes. Just imagine what he can do in animation. Like,
oh my God,
this guy do a lot of cool moves that's just not physically possible in live action. So
yeah, Pedro's already doing the ADR, so
yeah, exactly. Like regardless of how cool those stunt performers are in Mando, and they're really great. I think a lot of the animation sequences we could get in animation would be even more powerful and kinetic.
I feel the same way. And I think the only reason I'm ambivalent to Ahsoka being in live action is because we've seen her whole journey in animation, and it's like
exactly. I don't want her end to be in live action.
Yeah. And so I think her end will be in the successor show, in the Rebel successor show,
but maybe not in the end at all, according to Filoni.
I don't know, but like
because he's like the fact that Filoni like spoke up about Tross, like she's not necessarily dead, maybe, and I'm just like,
then how old is she? Yeah, by this point,
right.
Tross.
I don't know because I'm trying to like get an assumption. Is Dave just like screwing with us again with the Ahsoka Live stuff, or is he like trying to introduce a whole new Force outreach? I don't know.
Yeah, but I just worry that like we're gonna get to the first shot of Mandalorian of Ahsoka, and it's just gonna be like uncanny. Like it's just gonna look like
it's gonna take some getting used to, regardless.
Right, you know, and like then the first time she speaks, it's the same with Alden. Like you know, but then we saw the trailer. We're like, okay, he's doing his own thing. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't have expectations of what it's going to be in live action. So that's what's scary about it.
Yeah, I would say I was like more used going into the idea of Solo because of the JJ Star Trek era with Chris Pine. Like I've already like come to know the translation of characters already. Like I've granted I was more introduced with Star Trek through the Chris Pine iteration, but
Me too.
It opened my door to go back and like look at stuff, and like I see like the legacy that upheld, and it's like okay, I get it.
I'm always more sold on like younger characters of older actors. Same thing with like the Indiana Jones and Last Crusade with the River Phoenix as Indy. Like that was great.
Yeah.
And then we get the same thing with Chris Pine. I'm like perfect casting there. So it's just when you get to older casting, it's like, I don't know. It just I can't think of a great older version of a character.
And what's it's like Ashley Eckstein's voice is so specific to Ahsoka. Like that.
Yeah.
Like I say, everyone says that with Han, but it's like I feel like we thought that, and all of a sudden, he's also younger. So then it was more easy to get on board with that because it was a different Han. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same thing with Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Right. And so now it's like I guess we don't really have a lot of examples of this opposite. So it's just interesting
think of anything
because
right
it is going the opposite in both age and it's a whole change in medium at the same time. So it's two things being, you know.
I will say, again, with the whole point with to Chris Pine, he was vastly different than Shatner's voice and speech, like especially his speech patterns and delivery, and he was able to make it his own. Well, and granted, like when I look at Alden, he's got the Han mannerisms too, but it's also he's a younger kid that's unsure of this new world. So it really, I guess, comes down to the element of the story.
It very much resonates with him as an actor too. It's like you have to play the biggest guy in the world, and it's exactly his character. It's like he's the good guy, he's the innocent good guy.
Yeah, and I think the tricky part with Ahsoka is that we've seen both age of spectrums for her. So when we're going to be somewhere on the in-between or on the outer banks of it, that's not far off from what we've already heard. That's where the translation's like. Because again, what we were just talking about, both of examples were live action. This isn't an adaptation from animation to real.
Yeah, because we just saw Ahsoka in Rebels, voiced by Ashley Eckstein, in this successor show, or the Ahsoka live action show. Could only be like a couple years after that. I'm like, then it should still be Ashley Eckstein. So
and so then the other thing is we'll go back from because Mando is going to be before Mando season 2 at least will be before the Rebels successor. So we'll get Mando season 2 and have a new set of expectations of what Ahsoka looks and sounds like, and then we'll have to go back to Ashley Eckstein. Which it's just I don't know.
It's messy.
I mean, I doubt there's going to be that big of a like a 5-year difference to how Ahsoka spoke in like say the World Between Worlds episode, because like also she sounds just the same as she does when she's like calling Anakin Sky Guy like in the Clone Wars film and stuff, like super young age.
Yeah, and we just gotta face it. We've known Ashley for over a decade now. Clone Wars movie was in 2008 or maybe earlier.
12 years now.
12 years now.
Yeah, it's been 12 years.
So just to introduce us to a new actress, it's going to be tough. I love Rosario if that's the case, but
why should this not be Rosario Dawson? That'd be so funny.
Like
every scooper on the planet, every trade is just like Rosario Dawson's in Mandalorian.
Rosario's like,
part of me like wishes that I had no idea. I wish we had no idea of these scoops. If that's one of the things that I don't like about the expectations of Mando season 2 is because we're building so much expectations now that we get all these bits of information, and we're writing all these like ideas in our head, or like, oh, this can't work if this can't happen, like all these things. Part of me would just love it if I didn't know that Ahsoka was showing up and all of a sudden you see live action Ahsoka for the first time. I wish that secret would have been preserved. Like that'd be
the only at this point the only secret I can get from that is like what episode she might appear on.
And plot details,
but you know when it's gonna come, and that's the thing with like these scoops that suck is like I like no, I mean it's great to have that surprise too, but I like hearing I'm cool with hearing the different projects that are happening, but when you start getting to character specifics to appear in said projects, that is what throws me for a loop. Like I would have loved to have first experienced the idea of Luke and Leia's appearance in show.
Especially Leia. I'm like, oh wow, we're really doing this?
Absolutely. I mean, because you expect Luke 100%, but like,
what's Luke doing there?
Yeah, you know, I mean, the T-16 Skyhopper and everything. What? Yeah, like the thought, and you know, you'll see someone like Bail Organa, like, okay, it makes sense. But then you get Leia, and it's like, oh my god, that's an awesome scene.
Yeah, they pan down, you see Leia, you're like, oh cool, that's really awesome. But yes, speaking of Mando season 2, I wanted to talk about Giancarlo Esposito's role for season 2. Right. He had a couple comments. And speaking of Mando, this show got nominated for best
15 Emmys,
which is crazy. I love Mando. I'll be the first one to say it. I didn't expect it to get best drama. I think there were some better shows out there. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
But
I mean, I haven't been watching.
I'm happy either way. I'm happy. I think the people that made the show are great creatives. I'm happy for them. I just think there could have been some better shows out there. But that being said, I'm proud of it. I think especially on the technological aspect, this show that's where most of the nominations came from, like the sound and the voice acting, which I think is very well deserved. I think it was really innovative in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, especially the whole thing. We joke a lot, but like the volume really is like something
crazy big. Yeah,
and the Mando doc was the perfect prelude / here's our Emmy ticket for you.
I never even thought about that. That could be a great idea. Like, a lot of these Emmy voters could have saw those docs and been like, this is a great
easily. Show. It's all laid out for you, crystal clear titles of every different category. Like, it's kind of smart.
Great point, Nathan or Carson. That's really cool. Nathan's like, thank you. I did say that. No, but yeah, in Giancarlo, as we're about to talk about, he got nominated for best guest actor. That's crazy. He only had like
Fernando.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like this guy.
Isn't he also nominated for Better Call Saul?
He's also nominated as best
supporting
actor for Better Call Saul.
That's what, because when that was floating around, that's what I initially thought it just was. But like, man, wow.
Yeah, which I also think Better Call Saul got robbed this year, as it does every year.
Yeah, isn't there like nothing for Bob?
Nothing for Bob, Rhea, or Jonathan Banks. This is crazy. But yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, Giancarlo Esposito.
The dude is so infectiously friendly. It's insane.
Exactly. I think a lot of Emmy people just really recognize how great he's been for the past couple decades now. So yeah, he's great. But also going into, I have the link pulled up here. He had a couple quotes about specifically his relationship to the Darksaber. He says, "You'll see more of the Darksaber. You'll get an explanation of this ancient weapon to the modern world, a collapsed world, and where did this saber come from, and how was it revived? It's a key in our second season, which will be back sooner than later." And then he says the saber is a key to Moff Gideon's past as well. And that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw another quote this week. There's like, there was like, he's more special than you think or something. I saw that going around in a quote. I can't remember, probably from a different article.
I think that was a different article. That was like E.T. or I think he was like, this guy could be special. Could he be related to the Force or whatever?
It might have been Ash's interview. I don't know.
Maybe.
I thought primarily he was just speaking on like being able to hold his own.
I think so too. I wanted to ask you guys though. There is a lot of before we get into the quotes. There's a lot of things people keep asking, especially if I got this from Twitter and like I forget her name, Nat, I think. She's been like theorizing, like, could this guy be an Inquisitor? Do you guys think that's a possibility?
The thought of maybe a retired Inquisitor that took to the ranks of the Empire is a really cool concept.
I agree.
It's weird. I'm talking slow because I'm just now like taking this in stride of like first hearing it, but
okay, cool.
I mean, I'd definitely I'm open to like any Star Wars story basically that just sounds like a new idea. It's only when you start saying like raise a Palpatine that I'm like, hold on. But you know, when it's a brand new character that I don't know yet, that's like, it's not lineage connection. It's just, it's like ranking and like existing in the world that we're already experiencing. It's a cog in the wheel, as you would say. That's where I'm more open to like these ideals. It's interesting too because initially when we went into the thought of it at all, we were just like, oh, this is Giancarlo playing an Imperial officer when we're at Celebration and stuff. It's like, okay, cool. But then when you get that Darksaber reveal, it's like, oh my god, there's a whole new can of worms open.
Yeah. I think he could be. So I remember talking about early, like couple episodes ago, probably like 5 episodes ago, we were talking Mandalorian stuff back when. It was when we were talking about the doc where we see the Darksaber reveal, like we saw the behind the scenes footage of all that.
Yeah,
I still think this guy comes from a place of not even lineage or power. Like I think he comes from a place of probably like earned ranked power, but I still think he's kind of like posturing into something he's not. Like I don't know what that reveal will be, but he seems like so experienced and so like confident, but I just think there's just a little bit of like me it doesn't believe him. I don't know why I say that.
You know, I could actually see a storyline going down to where like maybe he boasts that he's like this big deal, but maybe he's like really this original low level guy who was on his own with his own like weird side quest, like whether it is like
which is a total Star Wars / samurai thing in general, of like
totally. And then he just kind of like decides to gain this faction in the cracks of the Empire. And
yes, he takes control of that power vacuum, and nobody knows to dissociate his authority because this man is holding the Darksaber. It could be totally inadvertent thing that he has a Darksaber. Obviously, it has to be some kind of he has to have some kind of authority to even get access to that weapon or, steal it off them. But at the same time, I like the idea that he is capitalizing on the chaos in the galaxy. Like I like that, especially during this era of when the Empire has fallen, but on the outside fringes of the universe, there's still cells of the Empire, even though we know the grand scheme of things that Death Star 2 is gone, Palpatine's gone, all this is gone, but yet all these people are just like seeing stormtroopers still around. So I think he's capitalizing on like that aspect.
I think that's a good point. I think he's definitely capitalizing off it, but he's also he's happy too in a way. Like even though your whole world order kind of just got blown up, literally blown up in the sky. I don't know where he was power wise, ranking wise, prior to the Death Star 2 blowing up. Maybe he wasn't in a good spot. Maybe he was. He had to have gotten the Darksaber 2 prior to Return of the Jedi, right? So I think
it's so interesting because the last we see the
maybe after. I'm not sure.
The last we see the Darksaber is with Bo-Katan before A New Hope, right?
Before A New Hope, and then according to Jin in the finale, he says like, "Oh yeah, this guy fought against the Mandos during like the the revolution, the Trial of Tears, whatever he calls it,
the Night of 1,000 Tears,
Night of 1,000 Tears."
Yeah,
which we haven't seen. We might see in season 2.
If the characters are potentially going to be presented in season, then I can imagine we'll get like, and maybe that could even be like their role is like the role of flashback for all we know.
Bo-Katan, especially Bo-Katan. Yeah, see that fight.
For sure.
Although she makes the most sense to be in the present in this show.
Definitely.
And I think specifically the Mandalorian characters alone make the most sense. But to his character though, I can see in gaining power and just having like a completely different take on what you would expect from this character. I don't think he might not even be that respectable of a character in the Imperial ranks prior to the fall. I can imagine like how you would see.
What do you mean by that?
Like in the sense when you see Battlefront 2, maybe you like when you see Iden Versio see the destruction of the Death Star, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable." Maybe on a different plane, you could see Moff Gideon see the exact same thing, and just be like, "My perfect shot to obtain what I need."
Exactly. Like he's frustrated. He's like, we see a lot of interpretations of people in the Empire like believing in the system and that kind of like, oh, we're restoring order to the galaxy. Maybe he believes that past Empire was kind of, it left him stuck. Like it was so vast.
I could see it being an instance of it being like a Krennic that takes that extra step.
Yes.
Krennic
who's violent and who actually seized on his opportunity.
A person who, even though like the Empire is very rigid in its authoritarian and like its leveling system, Moff Gideon obviously got very far into where he was. Like, I think he became a Moff prior to prior to Death Star 2, I think. So I think he's gotten to where he's at in a very great position. But I also think, like you guys just said, he wants to go that extra step. Now that this whole world is collapsed and fallen into itself, he wants to be that guy to bring order to the world. He wants to be the guy on top. And I don't know, just the whole Darksaber thing. Like, I don't know if the Imperials are going to be like, oh, he's a Darksaber, so we have to follow him, because they have no relation to the Darksaber. Only like the Mandalorians do. So that's going to be very interesting to see his relationship to like other Imperials.
Yeah,
I can't wait. And it's so funny because I think like a couple of months ago I was like, this guy is going to get his butt kicked if he fights like Ahsoka or somebody like that. But the more I hear about it, I was like, this guy could be a really great fighter. Like, the more we heard about Tarkin, we realized he's a great fighter. So same thing could be for Moff Gideon. I
mean, I don't know the biology difference in like the chest, but like whenever I see like Thrawn training in his combat room with the droids, stuff like that, like really just amplifies the intrigue of like how he could hold his own. And granted, this man's just human, but it didn't look like Thrawn necessarily did anything too out of the ordinary that like a fit human could do. Granted, Giancarlo is an older gentleman, but I think he could probably be very well equipped with the blade that I'm sure.
And I guess they broke a ton of them on set, so I'm so curious.
Absolutely. In regards to further points of discussion, I don't think it's too many like big topic stuff. Like, just to toss out from my end, I know there was the leak of the start screen for the Lego Skywalker Saga game.
Oh yes,
which looks very nice. And it's funny because all we have is a still image. I have no doubt in my brain that it's actually going to be every character moving. It looks like a gorgeous set piece from like every era.
It looks like some of them are just like I think it will probably be like in motion when we actually get it on screen. I think characters will be like moving in and out. Like I'll be curious. I would be cool if it wasn't like a set screen, like, because there's so many characters and the whole selling point is like this is the complete saga now. That'd be cool. Like they have different variations at least of like characters moving in and out.
I think there's
during the title screen.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be like existing like gags from like the player not immediately pressing start. Like I imagine like you see like Rey pulling up the saber, and I imagine she'll probably just be like, "Oh God!" Like it's
like getting tired, like
just kind of like look around, just like hold it down, and like you see other stuff too because you see like Jar Jar's kind of like spinning around.
Yeah, Jar Jar's like turned around. So
it looks like he's like peeing or something on the.
No way, he's got to be like mid spin or something.
He's like turning around. He's like looking back. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Lovely thing someone pointed out is a very close sharing hug between Finn and Poe.
Finn and Poe. I was like, wow,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We know what the developers think.
And we got Lego Rose finally.
I didn't see her in there.
Yeah, she's right in the front.
Lego Rose, and she's great.
That's so cool. Gotta look at that. Okay,
so cool.
I saw Kylo on the left there with Boba Fett. Man, this game, guys, I can't wait. Like, I always have fond memories of Lego Star Wars because I remember, like, in 2002, I think, in second grade for me. What's it called? 2004, maybe.
Because the first Lego game was the prequels.
The first Lego game was the prequels, but my first PS2 game ever was the Lego Star Wars, the original trilogy. And I went home. Game, actually, it was, yeah, but it was my first Lego game. I'm saying, that I ever played. It's funny because I played the original trilogy one first, and then I realized, oh, there's a prequel one first. Then I went back and played that.
I remember I rented mine from Blockbuster.
Blockbuster and Hollywood Video.
Yeah, I rented the original trilogy, which is so weird because I'm so used to playing the complete saga now. In memory, that the thought that there's only 3 episodes to play instead of 6 in the game feels so empty in my brain. But yeah, I remember I play the original trilogy, and then like this one dude at like my bus stop in grade school had the prequel game, and he let me borrow it, but like I remember like I had to bring it back the next day, but I would just be like, oh no, I forgot it, my bad, I'll bring it back the next day because I was
you were that guy, Nathan?
That's horrible.
Bring it back. All right, so I just had to unlock every character.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
But
no,
then-
I remember playing PS2. Like, oh my god, I actually have my PS2 in the other room. I should set that up
You
and
still
start
have
playing.
it, man. Nice.
Yeah, I still have it.
I got my PS2, but my my memory card stick, like the casing around the actual like chip card broke.
It broke. Oh
Oh.
wow.
The plastic encasing, so
The plastic part.
I can't
Yeah.
plug it in. So I'm just like, damn it, I need a new one.
I
It's-
love my PS2, man.
But I remember I got the complete saga on the Wii, the first Nintendo Wii.
What? I did too. That's why I'm like complete.
You know what? I
backlog.
think I do. Yeah, I have that one too. I have one for PS2. I have one for Wii, and I have one for the PlayStation 3. I want to say.
I think I had the Clone Wars one for PS3. Me.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. Man.
There were
That's
so many like different little versions when all the consoles were like generations
Yeah.
because we had only 6 films for so long. Like it just kept
Yeah.
like
I mean, I literally
God.
have my original DVD from 2005 of Revenge of the Sith, and it says on the back, "The saga's complete."
I
Is it
know,
though?
isn't that so weird? Now
Man.
here we are, 15 years later. Oh my god, 15 years.
That's
50.
crazy.
I mean, I remember when it was just 10. It was like Force Awakens is coming, and we're just like, "Oh, look at this cool new shot of Stormtrooper."
And New Mutants still hasn't come out, and there's been like 4 Star Wars movies.
Poor new
I know. Again, I was saying like,
That is, I don't know why. That is the most mind blowing comparison to me. Like, I still think about that, Nathan, on a daily basis. Of like,
yeah,
Last Jedi, Solo,
Rise
Rise of Skywalker.
a whole the Rebels finale was that year.
Rebels finale, 2 seasons of Resistance,
Yeah, 2 seasons of Resistance,
a
an
season of
entire
Mandalorian.
and a whole season of Clone Wars.
Those poor
It's
actors,
nuts.
man. Do you guys think? Do you guys believe the rumor that the this new Lego Star Wars game could be delayed to next year, spring 2021?
I'm starting to.
At this point, I'm preparing myself to accept that. But I think I'm so disconnected from not seeing anything that I won't feel.
Because they
too
said
bad.
summer. I think earlier last year they said like coming summer 2020.
Mhm.
I think that
And
was
I
it.
don't know if because it's interesting because like a lot of like the leak stuff that started floating around Twitter recently came from this dude who claimed he was talking with Noah and Corey, who have recently come out and said that they never discussed anything with the
Yeah,
guy.
it's so
When
weird.
was the last
I
time
don't know if that was the guy who had the title screen leak.
I thought it was.
If I don't know. That's what I'm asking because if
I'm
it
not
is,
sure.
he also had the semblance of like the game being downloaded to console. So I don't know how ready to go it is.
Okay, the TT Games posted the official poster that was posted on May the 4th.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember there being like articles on StarWars.com about the game and about some of the mechanics.
Yeah, and we got like
But-
the tiniest of a teaser announcement.
Remember when
Yeah.
they said, yeah, it's coming October, but then they deleted the video and then they
Yeah.
just said it's coming later, like or coming soon.
I'm gonna go to their website right now and
So
see what
it said
says.
October, but then they changed it to saying like, oh wait, no, it's just coming out soon or something like that. So, and it's so funny. It was coming out in October, but we also have Star Wars Squadrons coming out in October as well.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
you would double lap.
I agree with Nathan. So I'm like, I don't think they would double dip, even though they are 2 different companies. One's EA,
Yeah,
the other one's
At
TT.
latest, I like if you were to drop it this year, latest Christmas.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, there's not even
earliest Christmas. I mean, otherwise, I think it would go.
I think
the release date isn't listed on their website.
yeah. So, cause,
Let me go to the old article. I'm gonna go to the May the 4th article right now and see.
yeah,
if
I don't
Funny
think
enough,
it's there.
I have- Funny enough, I have because you guys know I got into like a big Lego kick again recently, and I bought a
You
bunch
sure
of.
have.
I got the Rise of Skywalker sets. In the instruction manuals, they have marketing for the Skywalker Saga game. I think I'd have to like look back to some of those manuals, but I can't remember if they had the October date on them or not, or if they just said coming soon.
I
the
don't think
last
any-
sentence of
Yeah.
the May the 4th official article from TT Games says more information on Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga will come this summer.
And
we
summer
have
is
one more
almost
month.
over.
Yeah, we have one more
Yeah.
month of summer. So,
And
which
that
we
one-
could get big August announcement for.
We could get a big August announcement. We could get the reveal of a delayed announcement or delayed release date.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. Again, like the rumor says, like spring 2021. So I think at the latest we could get this in April. of next year. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner. I just want this game so much.
I mean, that's a more open market, I think, and it allows you to have like the jump on the next gen.
Because this whole fall schedule for games like so packed with like
the whole
Cyberpunk,
PS5
Squadrons, PS5, Xbox One. So it's a lot of stuff. I can see them being like, okay, it's a lot. We'll just delay it until next year.
And otherwise, is there any more to discuss?
No, I think that's about
I don't
it.
think so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I can go cook dinner. Yeah.
Cook some net.
I'm hunting for a release date on their official websites. It's
I
just
don't think
nowhere
it's
to be
there.
found.
Yeah.
Carson, where can they find the release date?
You can find the release date nowhere
Right. No.
in the minds of our own speculation.
The release date was the friends we made along the way. But no. In all honesty, I think this was like a really fun discussion to just like be able to deep dive into
Couldn't
a lot
agree
of
more.
project. I think probably because we didn't have to like unravel 10 scoops at a time. We only had like
2, yeah.
But you know, I think I'm starting to get lactose intolerant. So if we could just like chill with these,
Chill with
What?
this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I got it.
Oh, that was good.
No,
man.
if that was good, I'm out.
That was like you aged like 20 years with that joke. Like you could be a full-on dad with that joke.
Oh yeah, I aged like milk. But
Stop it.
okay.
Close the curtain. This is a wrap. It's over.
Close
Yeah,
the dairy farm. All right, let's.
Look, I'm having too much fun. Like, somebody got to take the mic. I was thinking the other night, man, it would be fun to just go live. Clearly not. I should not be giving this much time on my own channel. But you know, we had a lot of fun here. But with that being said, we're going to be back next week. Same with the same crew. But in the meantime, Carson, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at the Film Carson, talking about all things Star Wars, movies, video games. Been playing some more PS4 actually. The Ghost of, how do I pronounce it? Someone help me. Tsushima. Great game so far. It is so I could go on a whole rant about the mechanics with it. It's so fun. Like I hope like honestly Fallen Order takes some notes for like lightsaber combat. It's really cool.
Ooh.
But yeah, can't wait for next week's show.
A classic topic of discussion, the mechanics. But Evan, where can they
I
find
had to mention.
Nathan talked about like Fallen Order for like 15 minutes that one episode.
He's like, so I swung on the vine and
you guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9, talking about a lot of Ghibli films that I'm watching. I'm like a little over halfway through on my binge of these Ghibli films. I'm loving every single movie, most of them. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I'm playing Last of Us 2 on the gaming side, and then after that, I might get into some Ghost of Tsushima for myself.
And as always, you can find me on various social medias linked in the description below. I should probably state along, since you guys say what you're up to, and I'm not as super active on the actual channel here. You can find me tweeting about plenty of different stuff. I just started the Arrowverse, so that's fun. Where you can find me tweeting about every ship I can come up with, because there's so many already, and I'm only like halfway into season 1.
Oh, you wouldn't believe Twitter during Arrow season 1, man. Everybody was like, "Oh man!"
Yeah. And I know
a lot of fights.
And I know Oliver's Endgame, but it's just like I see him with like, these other different people. I'm just like, I'm shipping all these though.
Me too, yeah.
It's fun though. I definitely got to get back on my PlayStation grind. Like now that my whole convention aesthetic stuff is complete, I can jump back into Last of Us, and I don't think I'll have to worry about any
still in chapter 1.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna I'm not gonna do any more of the gameplay recording, unfortunately, because as Carson knows, as he was there, I crashed so much trying to stream.
I heard about that.
I crashed like 5 times in a row.
We got 15 minutes, or we got one mission in.
We got like the whole intro that everyone's seen ever, and
then we got to the lab, and he did one puzzle, and then we just crashed.
I tried so hard. I was so reluctant. I was like, as soon as I crashed, I jumped right back online, and I was like trying to get it. But I was like, man, this ain't gonna work. Just never mind. I'll just
Okay, so I checked the comprehensive interview with the director or with
We have
like
wrapped,
the game
bro.
director, and there's no release date.
Oh, thank you, Carson.
You can find us everywhere. With updated links in the description now for Carson's new ad.
Yes,
So,
because I changed my name.
yeah, so we're all going to be having fun. But again, also to their guys' point of, I'm no doubt going to start jumping into the Ghibli films eventually. But first and foremost, I'm going to be watching Your Name, which I'm super excited to be checking.
Oh,
one of the best
yes.
movies of all time.
So I hear, and I
It is
was
Of all
so
time.
good.
Of all
so I
time.
hear. I'm looking forward to rewatch Weathering with You, which was so fantastic. But like the first start with Your Name, I'm super excited to see, especially as I dive into my own set animation that I will never match the Japanese ever. But you know, we have fun. So with that, all of us here at Hyperspace Hype, join us next week every Friday, probably 8 p.m. specific Eastern Standard Time, specifically. Haha. But with that being said, if you enjoyed our stream, hit like button, subscribe if not rating. That being said, I hope you have a great day, and may the force be with you always.